caucus. We rolling already, Chris?
Yeah, what's the bills list? It's one of the bills list.
The caucus regular meeting of the mayor and council of the Borough of Lavallette for Monday, December 7th, 2020 will come to order. Please call the roll.
Councilman Borowski.
Here.
Councilman Lamb.
Here.
Council President Salem.
Here.
Councilman Stockdale.
Here.
Councilman Fincher.
Here.
Councilman Philpott.
Here.
Please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement.
Due to the coronavirus pandemic, this meeting has been closed to the public physically and is being live streamed via Zoom. Any comments from the public that are received via email no later than 4 p.m. by the municipal clerk will be read and discussed by mayor and council at the council meeting during public comment period. Notice of this remote meeting was posted on our website with instructions on how the public can connect to live stream this council meeting.
Thank you. I'm going to give a few further comments on how to participate here. During the public comment parts of the meeting, if you'd like to speak, please click the raise hand button and we will be notified of your request to talk. The mayor will recognize you and your microphone will be unmuted to allow you to speak. Once you have completed speaking, your mic will be remuted. For security reasons, we cannot recognize anyone who is listed as anonymous or a phone number that is not identified. When you are recognized and unmuted, you must first state your name and address before saying any questions or comments. Failure to do so may result in your being muted and or disconnected. On computers, the raise hand button can be found in the webinar controls section, typically at the bottom of your screen. If you raise your hand by accident, feel free to lower your hand. If you're only joining by dialing in, you can simply dial *9 and toggle between raise hand and lower hand. On mobile devices, the raise hand and lower hand buttons are typically found in the lower left corner of the screen. This meeting will also be live streamed on YouTube. There is roughly a 20-second delay in the process. YouTube chat will no longer be used for public commenting. Okay, this time I ask for a moment of silence. Only local resident I'm aware of is Charlie Cerami, a longtime owner of the Candlelight Motels in town. Anyone else? The fact that today is Pearl Harbor Day.
Bob Ciancia too.
Oh, Bob Ciancia. Yeah, he was living in Point Pleasant. A year younger than me. Heart attack, I think. Yeah, young guy. Well, how many kids? 7 kids?
7 children.
7 children. Yeah, his family were Masons on Pennsylvania, not the religious Masons, but
Right.
actual Masons who did a lot of the work back in the day here in Lavallette. We went to grade school, high school with them.
What was his name?
Bob Ciancia. Bob Ciancia. So,
Ruthie's,
yeah, married Ruth
Light
Lightbody,
Oh.
married one of her daughters. Okay, Dave?
Yes, thank you. Just want everybody to remember during a moment of silence, 79 years ago today at 7:55 a.m. in the morning, Pearl Harbor was attacked. It lost the life of 2,400 people. Some of those people were never recovered and are entombed in the ships that sunk. Please keep these people in your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you. And after the moment of silence, I'm going to have Council President Anita Salome lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. I know you're all on Zoom. We were hoping that sooner rather than later this would get back to normal, but with this current spike in coronavirus outbreak here and across the country, it's not looking good for the foreseeable future. I think we get better at these meetings, but still nothing like having people in attendance. So we do look forward to the time when we'll be able to have some residents back in town and be able to gauge their reaction to the things we say by looking at in their eyes, right, Bob?
Yep.
Okay. First on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. We have the minutes of the council meeting of October 19, 2020. If there are no changes or corrections, I'll ask for a motion.
So moved. Second.
A roll call, please.
Councilman Borowski.
Yes.
Councilman Philpott.
Yes.
Council President Salem.
Yes.
Councilman Stockdale?
Yes.
Councilman Pinter?
Yes.
Councilman Long?
Yes.
And that motion is approved. Next up, we have reports. As usual, Mrs. Philippon has a few.
Just a couple today, Mayor. I have construction and police overtime, I think is all I have, yes. Construction department is booming. Revenues for the month of November total 37,181 minus the 1551 DCA fees, leaving us with 35,630. 32 permits issued, 5 were updated. A couple of penalties, I'm not sure exactly what the penalties were for, but 1 notice of violation and 2 penalties, so they're on top of things. I'm not going to break it down, it is what it is. Overtime for the month of November with the police were 127 for 2020, that's up 52 and a half hours from last year. I'm not sure why. We're still 145 hours less than last year. 96 of the 127 hours were covering shift.
Yeah, I'm certain that they were impacted by COVID over there that resulted in some.
Right, to my knowledge, we have a couple of people, not just in the police department, but exposed to someone who was positive and they had to quarantine, but they themselves were not positive. Which is a good thing, but that's what's going on. That's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Then that will take us to Public Works. Bobby, got anything you want to tell us today?
Yeah, a little bit of we had the tower inspected with the various rust spots that's you can see from the ground, and they inspected it, our engineers inspected it, and they're going to cover it, and our bond is still active, so they're looking to maybe approach it in the spring as opposed to doing it now, and that way, if there's any more that are determined, we can prepare them at the same time. We also had Oswald look at the infiltration that's been taking place, and it looks as though we wired it down in 3 different streets, Brown, McGee, and Vance, and it looks as though it was the DOT's problem, or they created a problem. However, to stop the bleeding of it and to stop that, we're waiting to get a price from Oswald about doing the repairs, see what that looks like, and we were discussing before the meeting whether to ask the DOT to cover it or whether they would want to use their own people. I don't know, but we need to stop the bleeding.
Yes.
Obviously. So, and we've also determined some other areas too that need to be addressed, sub pumps and such. Not much, but we're looking into that also.
Good.
And they've done a good job, Oswald, for us. There's also on the agenda tonight, we're in the process of hiring another full-time electrician and lineman. This particular individual has the skills. We have projects we're going to be looking to do in the next several months, and this particular individual has the skills and the expertise in order to really work well with our electric department to get those things done. I think we'll save some money instead of outsourcing those projects to private companies. So that's about it.
I'd like to commend the Public Works. They really did a great job decorating the town, and we couldn't have our usual tree lighting ceremony, but to Pete and Mike Visco came over and put the microphones there. I played the holiday music, and it was really nice. I want to thank them very much. They did a great job, as they always do. And I also want to thank Teddy and Bob. I'm sure they've been after the county because President Avenue was worked on again. I woke up very early in the morning. It was so noisy outside. It was Earl, and I didn't complain because they were working on that project. And I hope it's going to be done. They were hoping also because they came back a second time now to work on it, Earl. But I think it was talking with Bob and with Ted that got them convinced to get this done. So kudos once again to Public Works.
And New York Avenue was paved, and that looks great.
Right.
Yes.
How about the well?
Okay, the well, we're waiting to get the report back. They did they videotaped it. We're waiting to see what it says.
Okay, we didn't get any firm information back.
Nothing yet, unless it came today.
So I got some information from the engineers. He received a preliminary from Schulte's. He's gonna work up the full price for us. So take what Schulte's quoted in and put some other things on there on the top end that need to be repaired as well. And then go ahead and compare it to his experience with how we repaired well for what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done.
Similar problems as we had on well 4?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, they were, right? I mean, that's what Ted said.
it is what you get down the bottom, but there's more stuff on top as well.
Okay.
So there'll be different problems, but overall, same, I think the same scope of the problem, not beyond rehabilitation, but some different.
And we don't expect it to take longer than spring, so we'll have full water
Yeah, that's
capabilities by summer season.
That's the same conversation I had with the engineer. Ironically, the timetable's almost lining up exactly with the last timetable. And we got that done
Yeah,
the
we
week
did.
before Memorial Day, so,
Yeah.
so that's what we're lining up again.
Love to stay on it.
The timetable.
Okay. We also have public affairs, Anita.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to say a lot of our wonderful trips and things we have planned for December had to be canceled. I mean, we did do the tree lighting and the lights are on a sensor, so all the lights went on at 4:17. We played the music from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and it was really nice out there, thanks to Public Works. Also, I want to commend so anyway, the New York City bus is canceled, those trips are canceled, ski trips are canceled. Also, the Happy Birthday Wobbleette on December 21st is canceled. So we're going to get back to this stuff. And if you look right down here in front of me, there's a gorgeous wreath. The Fire Ladies Auxiliary had their sale of poinsettias and wreaths, and the wreaths are just beautiful this year. So I called up and told her they're beautiful. So please pass that on to her again. The whole town looks beautiful because of it. And I figured we'd enjoy one here at the meeting. I also want to thank the newspaper for all their coverage. They took a picture, put a picture of the tree lighting in the paper Friday of the tree lighting. And then they sent the photographer down to take a lot of pictures for this newspaper for this week. I also think it's wonderful that the donations of love, Joanne takes enough time to do that for Thanksgiving. And now on the little paper, you'll see that Enright's office is doing something, the toy drive for Christmas. So if you pick one of these up, you'll find the days that you can bring something over. So it's great. The town just chips in and makes everybody's Christmas beautiful. I also want to mention that, what's going on here? Oh, I'm working on a lot of things with the, this is our year. I got very excited. Actually, one time, a citizen came to the meeting saying that the ARC gives out a beautiful grant. And if you remember, we were too late. They had to be in February, and we found out about it in March. So I called up ARC. I must have spent 3 hours on the phone every day, but I finally did get them. But they've canceled the grant for this year. They're not going to be giving the grant, so it's too late because we could have used that. So I'm all for now. I'm after Green Acres. I'm after Green Acres and Steve Sweeney because there should be some money around that we could possibly use to work on our Green Acres land. I mean, they said it was beautiful, in beautiful shape, and they're very happy with it. They sent us a letter, but we need to do a little bit more down here. So I'm gonna keep it for both of them and Steve Sweeney. I'm also excited about the fact that this year, every other year, we get the CDBG grant. We got it last year. And I got the notices here, exactly how much we were supposed to only get 30,000. What happened was we got the 30,000 benches, we put all the benches up there. It was for handicap accessibility improvements. I got the thing right here. And because I talked to him today. And then we asked him for a little bit more because we wanted to put the matrix out there. And so they gave us, I thought they gave us 10, but they gave us 14,000, 14,500. So this is the monies that they gave us. And this year is our year to go for a grant. And I asked him, I said, what about handicap accessibility? What can we do? What can we do? So we have time to think about it, but this application, I'm gonna start the Zoom meetings and get into the meetings, and tomorrow is my first Zoom meeting, and try to get at least, we'll try for 50,000 this year. Mostly every bank is 30, but we'll try to get 50,000 and do it at what we think is the most important thing for our town. And the handicap accessibility is a big one. All right, so I just want to mention all of those to you. And Some of you got some pictures of the problem with that one ramp on President Avenue. It's great, and Dave knows he was down there. What happens is, when the wind blows from the south to the north, it blows sand right up. So Dave is working on something with Teddy to see if we can block that sand that goes up there, because it puts sand all over that ramp, and it's really awful. You can't come down. I sent you the pictures of, I have them right here, so I printed them out, of that poor girl, Taylor, that came down to go to the Baytrex, all excited, and I had to find 5 men to pick up her wheelchair and move it because she was stuck in the sand. So we'll think about doing something about that. Okay, and I'll save the rest for.
Very good. Thank you, Mia. We also have the tax account report for November 2020 and the revenue transaction report for October 2020. I'll accept the motion on the reports. Roll call, please.
Councilman Borowski?
Yes.
Councilman Philpott?
Yes.
Council President Salem?
Yes.
Councilman Stockdale?
Yes.
Councilman Pinter?
Yes.
Councilman Land?
Yes. Motion is approved. Resolutions on consent, I will read by number, accepting council comments along the way. At the end, I'll ask for a motion and a second. We'll give a few minutes of public comment before we take the roll call. Number 258, appointing Jeb Kelly as a full-time electrician lineman for the Department of Public Works. Annual salary $68,798, effective December 8th. 259, authorizing the mayor to sign and execute the interlocal service agreement between the Borough of Lavallette and the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office to participate in the DWI enforcement program and the drug recognition expert call-out program from October 1st, 2020 through September 30th, 2021. Number 260, approving a raffle license application from St. Pio to hold a 50-50 off-premises draw raffle to be drawn on September 23rd, 2021 at 10 a.m. 261, approving the renumbering application of 1307A Grand Central to become 27 Brooklyn and 1307B Grand Central to become 25 Brooklyn Avenue. They're all in compliance with the requirements of that ordinance,
Yes,
I'm
you
assuming.
did on Washington Avenue.
Okay.
Yes,
Yep.
same thing.
262, authorizing the refund of a 2020 tax overpayment in the amount of $2,619.60. 263, authorizing special class 1 officer Davidis Jacobicius.
Whoa,
Davidis Jacobicius
DJ.
to attend the Ocean County Police Academy Class 2 training commencing December 2020. How did that go?
Good. Really good.
That was good.
All right.
I can't wait for that.
I said that to myself. All right. If there are no comments on the consent agenda, then I'll accept the motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Matt, is anybody seeking a comment on the consent agenda?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Mayor, the only thing I'd like to offer is, I truly appreciate bringing on a full-time electrician with the qualifications to do a lot of the work, so that he has the license and experience to handle that. But I would just respectfully ask the administration to consider perhaps allocating some of his salary to the general fund as opposed to exclusively from the electric department. He's going to be doing
It
stuff.
isn't just strictly, you
This-
want to comment on that?
The salary is 67, but it will come from several different locations,
Okay, that's,
right? It's not all out of the electric budget, Mr. Bryce.
no, it's not. We're looking to take from electric, DPW, water, and sewer.
Right.
Because some of what he's going to do has to do with the water plant and other infrastructure that we have.
Certainly appropriate, Jim. Thanks. Thank you. Okay, if there are no other comments on it, then, and nothing on Zoom, I'll ask for the roll call, please, on the consent agenda.
Councilman Borowski?
Yes.
Councilman Philpott?
Yes.
Council President Salem?
Yes.
Councilman Stockdale?
Yes.
Councilman Pinter?
Yes.
Councilman Land?
Yes. And that motion is approved. Resolutions off consent is number 264, authorizing the mayor and the clerk to execute an agreement between the Borough of Lavallette and the Lavallette First Aid Squad for emergency response services for the year 2020, the amount of $28,000.
So moved.
Second.
I'm going to assume Jim and Dave are going to abstain on that one?
Councilman Borowski,
Abstain?
Councilman Philpott,
Yes.
Council President Salem,
Yes, yes.
Councilman Stockdale,
Yes.
Councilman Pinter,
Abstain.
Councilman Lamb.
Yes. And that motion is approved. They abstain simply because they're members of the First
Right.
Task Force. Okay, number 265 is the bills list, the amount $915,512.40.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Borowski,
Yes.
Councilman Philpott,
Yes.
Council President Salem,
Yes.
Councilman Stockdale,
Yes.
Councilman Pinter,
Abstain on 20-01028, yes on all the others.
Councilman Lamb.
Yes. And that motion is approved. That takes us to old business. Mr. Price, you had some old business that you wanted to discuss with us.
I do. The first matter up is going to be with Verizon, with the applications for the small cell facilities. We did receive an application on November 25th from Verizon. One application for 5 different sites. I'll go into real quick about the shot clock. Once we receive the application, in accordance with the FCC, we're on what's called a shot clock, a 60-day shot clock. To comply with that shot clock, we're going to have to prepare this application to be submitted and reviewed by the planning board on January 6th. So it is at the engineer's office right now being reviewed. We'll be doing a site visit with the engineer later this week. And then that will have it ready to be presented to the council on January 19th. You'll notice we had to adjust our meetings, our proposed meetings in January a little bit. The 19th meeting is too accommodating to bring it under that 60-day shot clock. So that's why we switched that one meeting to the 19th. The 5 sites that they are proposing are in the vicinity of 2000 Grand Central Avenue, which is in the vicinity of Princeton and Grand Central. The vicinity of 3 Liggett Road, the vicinity of 103 Brown Avenue, in the vicinity of 120 Washington Avenue, and in the vicinity of 1704 Grand Central. Again, those are the 5 sites at this point that they're submitted with this. Again, there's some differences in the applications between this time and the last time we reviewed them. We'll review that, we'll let the engineer review that when they submit their report to both the council and the planning board on the feasibilities of the application and the completeness of the application.
Did you also have discussions with them about placement of a temporary cell tower this summer?
So it wasn't the same exact people. It was a different call that I happened to get from I forget his name, but he's located out of Lakewood, third party representing Verizon, looking to place a cellular on wheel. They call them cows for short, antenna array in the north end of the town. He gave me a bullseye of where they're looking to put it, and it's not only just in our town. It could also fall within the southern part of like Ocean Beach, that area there. So I told him, he has to figure out where he's going to put it. Are they looking to put it in Lavalette, or are they looking to put it in Ocean Beach? Before he comes back and gets or applies for any sort of permission. The biggest factor, just off the top of my head, where he was looking to put it was north of White Street, or White Avenue. He called it White Street, so I just call it White Street. White Avenue. And quite honestly, we just don't have the space for any sort of
Not very many vacant land
No.
out there where they could put that.
The only vacant land you got is Rutherford Homes.
That's not us though. I mean, so.
No, it's
I'm
not
talking
us, but that's the only vacant
Yeah,
land.
I'm talking about on our end.
Yes.
4 or 5 acres there.
Yeah, so I'll wait to hear from him again. So that's kind of just
Okay.
very tentative at this point, but
Thank you.
I found that interesting though, because it was the same reasons that they're citing the 5 or the small cells was because of the influx of summer traffic on the on broadband. So it's two different fixes they're proposing.
Well, when they first came to us with the small cell 5G, you recommended or you suggested to them, how about a mobile unit somewhere? Oh, no, that can't be done. Now they want both apparently.
Well, they put a mobile up, where was it, Normandy Beach?
Yeah.
Near the
If
water.
I used to be,
Or near, by Houston.
Yes.
That's correct. So they took our suggestion after they said no, and they
Yeah.
did it, now they want another one. Mayor, can I just make a comment about the application, not specific to the application? With the interest of the public in this matter, I really think that we need to prepare to have a public meeting, not a Zoom meeting. And we might have to do something other than this room, or the planning board is meeting in the bay of the first aid buildings with 2 cases coming up. I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But the weather is getting cold, and if people want to come to respond either at the planning board meeting or at the council meeting concerning 5G, I think they need an opportunity. So maybe we ought to look at doing it in the school.
Can we do it in the school?
Why
Are we allowed
can't
to
we?
have that kind of a meeting under the governor's guidelines?
I don't know if we can go into the school as an outside entity. I don't think the,
2 weeks out.
You know, we'll have to look at it. I agree with you. It probably should be made more available to the public than what we see right now. But we're going to have to see what we
I
can
mean,
do.
I don't know how many people might be interested.
To remain in compliance.
You might be able to.
Maybe we can ask anybody who's got an interest to send us a note so we can try to figure out how big this meeting might be. So anybody out there's got an interest in the 5G application, let us know, and we'll try to figure something out.
I don't
to
see how
accommodate
how
everybody.
any of this can be considered fair to the public when the public does not have the appropriate opportunity to ask questions or to respond or to be present. This is okay, but it's not the best. I mean, Wednesday night this week, the planning board is going to meet with we met there one time, but it was really sort of an in-house business meeting more than it was a public meeting, and it was okay. Now we have 2 cases coming up on Wednesday night. I have no idea how many people might be interested in the cases, but if there are quite a few, you're going to be standing outdoors.
so I just want to clarify, Mr. Phil, the planning board's actually in the firehouse.
Firehouse.
It's coming, not the first aid.
I'm sorry, I said first aid. I
I just want to, I don't want people showing up at first aid.
Right, firehouse, bay, but regardless, it basically is outside with the doors open. You have a roof over your head. You can't fit a lot of people in there with us being spread out. There's 10 or 12 of us on the board between the lawyer and the engineer. So, 10 people, that's 60 feet apart from beginning one. It's not like we have a lot of extra room.
So
here,
The problem comes if people show up. You can't stop them from coming into a planning board meeting.
how are you going to do it with the fire?
So I'll tell you the way we
Be
have.
outside and listen.
Can I'll tell you how we have the firehouse set up. We're not actually going to be in the base. The planning board's going to be in the meeting room. For overflow purposes, like Mr. Lamb's talking about, we have the bays available. When they're going to be in the meeting room, we're going to have the windows and doors open to allow for the air to circulate. Unfortunately, this room doesn't have any availability to get fresh air in there. If we start having members of the public or crowd there. So the way it is designed, like you're saying, is the planning board members and the applicant, and then the people who would like to comment will be available to be in that meeting room. And then if there is an overflow, we can easily just put them right on the subject.
So that may work for the 2 cases on Wednesday night. I'm not so sure it'll work for 5G because
It may, because we still have that overflow area. We can put the overflow people there. And then as their comments, we can actually bring them in to comment and then go back out there, maybe set up some sort of.
you'd have to have a PA
TV.
system so that they could hear everything that's going
Yeah,
on.
set up a screen or something,
Both ways.
much like this, so that when they're outside, they can hear.
It's just
We'll let Mr. Bryce look at the regulations and see what we
what we
can.
can do.
And I've asked now for the public to let us know if they have an interest in attending, so we can get some idea on how big of a
Okay.
meeting we might be looking at.
Just a quick question, Mayor. Of the five applications or sites that they've listed, are they pre-existing
Yes,
Poles already there?
yes, they're all, I believe, going to be replaced though, the poles. So they're built with their current poles in those locations, but they will be replaced.
Thank
Some of them are too short right now to accommodate the equipment. One of them is braced up, so that needs to be replaced with a different pole.
And since the last application, the technology, as expected, has really advanced as far as the cosmetics. So colors and styles are available to us at this point, not that I'm encouraging it, but
The color is gonna match the pole.
Yeah.
Real attractive.
instead of white.
Well, they didn't say white before. They didn't
Again, I'm
say-
not advocating for it, I'm just letting you know what I've heard about it. So it'll be interesting. Okay, any other old business?
I do.
Oh.
Who else? Do you want to?
No, you-
Okay. Sherman Hospitality, Pete's Poolside Bar, Capricio's. As we all know, liquor license, they were involved in litigation with the ABC. They have entered a consent order to settle that. As part of the consent order, the ABC, as we know, was seeking a very lengthy suspension as well as a revocation. The consent order, the parties agreed to an indefinite suspension effective immediately. The owner must divest its interest in the license to a bona fide third-party purchaser. After the owner has divested its interest, the division has approved the divestiture, and the municipality approves of the transfer. The new license holder may petition the Division of Alcoholic Beverages to lift the indefinite suspension, which shall be done by a separate order. As part of that agreement, they can make application to pay a monetary offer in compromise in lieu of the license revocation. That amount is $100,000 to the ABC. That will be in effect 10 days after they sell the license. So the first $100,000 from the sale or any other proceeds will go directly to the ABC. That's the gist of the agreement. There are some other terms in there, but that's the meat and potatoes of it. So that liquor license will be vacated by the present owner.
May I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes.
Going back many years ago when the ABC determined that that location only needed one license from either of the two towns where the property spans, we had to agree, as did Tom's River, to use our license rather than the Tom's River license, and we got the fee there. It had to do with the monies, if I remember correctly. Are we under the obligation to maintain that arrangement with Tom's River, or do we have the option to change it? Why do we have to let them use our license?
Well, we don't, but if they sell it to a bona fide purchaser, the bona fide purchaser is obviously going to want to site it someplace, and then we're going to deal with what we dealt with Lenny's again. So we
Well, they
allowed it
could-
to go there because it was the least
Well,
troublesome solution.
back then, but is there another location available even at that end of town?
For the right price, I'm certain that there is.
I don't know about 1,500 feet.
Oh, trust me, there are green zones in town.
Okay,
And I'm certain that any neighbor to the green zones would vehemently object to placement of that. So what's the lesser evil? Again, that's why we put it down there the first time, because then we didn't have to deal with the Lenny's siting problem. The guy's not gonna pay, obviously it's gonna sell for more than 100,000 just to satisfy the fines. So, the buyer's not gonna buy that and not expect to put it somewhere.
well, I mean, that obligation is on the buyer. I mean.
Yes, but it will come before this,
For us.
and you can't, if he's within the 1,500-foot zone, the green zone, you can't object.
All right. I'm not sure there's a green zone.
There are several green zones.
Several?
Yes.
I can only think of one possibility, and I'm not sure that's accurate.
You don't want to trust me. My building is in a green zone,
Ooh.
and I don't intend to sell or get a liquor license, but my building is in a green zone. Maybe Salty's is in a green zone.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
Well, it's subject to interpretation. It's right on the board. Depends on where you measure from. If you measure from the front door of the church, they're in a green zone. If you measure from the property line of the church, they're in a red zone.
And our ordinance doesn't address that, exactly how you measure it.
It's a state law.
The other option they have is the person that buys the license buys the Capriccio building and just.
But Capricio's building is 99% in Tom's River. So we don't have to honor that.
Yeah, but they still use our.
Well, we've approved the place-to-place previously, and what would occur next would be a person-to-person approval with the place-to-place still in effect.
I think that was my question. Is the place-to-place automatically still in effect? Or do we have?
Mr. George, can you answer that question? Uh-oh.
I believe that Ms. Philippone's question, just to restate it because of the sound, was whether the
Philly, you there?
1,500 foot I'm here. Can you hear me?
We'll have to
Can
ask
you hear
him
me,
that
Mayor?
question.
Yeah,
Get an answer. This is distant. This is not imminent.
right.
Right.
So we'll.
Can you hear me now?
An opinion from him before the next meeting.
Mayor, can you hear me? I'm sorry.
All right, we'll come back to it.
I'm still true.
Any other
Okay.
old business that needs to be discussed, Michael?
Just want to bring up in regards to the holiday season, bad sales. With COVID-19 and the spike up, we've run into some staffing roadblocks with that. With the current way that we have the staffing, we're not going to be able to staff that. We just don't have the bodies with COVID-19 and the structure of the schedule, unfortunately. With many other things, this, COVID has now affected this. It's not a huge impact. As a matter of fact, it should have no impact. I mean, we're not opening up the beach the end of December or January. So there would still be opportunity. I would urge the residents to look after the new year, keep an eye on the website for the order form to go out. When that goes out, we can accept the mail order form, check or credit card. I strongly recommend do not send cash through the mail. But unfortunately, that is where we're at.
Okay, that's the way it is. I know we had shortages downstairs. We got shortages in the police department. We're okay at DPW, thankfully, but it's
And
not getting
again,
better.
we'll get through this and we will get to our summer season, and I fully expect to have an awesome summer season like we did last year.
You
So
can't buy them through the mail.
not yet, no.
No, we don't know.
No, so I said, look, after the new year, please keep an eye on the webpage for the mail-in order form. And we'll start furnishing it through that again, and there will be more information to come out. It's fluid. The situation is fluid now. So, I was hoping we'd be through all this at this point, but unfortunately we're not. So.
Okay. Any other old business that needs to be discussed?
Mayor, you might be able to pose that question to Mr. George at this point.
Mr. George, can you hear us? Guess not, huh?
I'll get text from people. They can hear him outside of here.
Huh.
The television was muted.
Oh, can you hear us, Bill?
I can hear you, Mayor. I don't know if you can hear me.
The question posed is, if Capriccio's were to sell the license to a bona fide purchaser, we have a place-to-place that had been done to approve the location there. Does that automatically go, or do we have to approve that place-to-place again upon, I know we have to approve the person-to-person. Does the place-to-place automatically go?
No, no, Mayor. the place-to-place would have to be approved because you have a new owner. And as I understand it, under the terms, the municipality has the right to approve both.
Okay, very good. That answers your question.
Thank you.
All right, any new business? Oh, I'm sorry. Jim, did you have some old
I
business?
was just going to ask the question if we received anything back from Dr. Farrell. We have not. Okay.
That's it?
I'll have to work. He said he sent something to this year, so I'll follow up with it.
We're anxious because we have reports of sand already migrating over there.
It's coming by regular mail. Regular mail is about 10 days.
Okay, on to new business. Anyone have new business? Dave, you good?
We received, take this off. We received our estimate for next year for Ocean County Utilities Authority. It's still going to stay at $4,039 per million gallons. And they're estimating that it will cost us $605,850 next year. As long as we don't go over that, we should be okay and it should fit in the budget.
And with the repairs of the sewer mains, we should be under that.
That should solve a lot of problems.
Very good. Okay. Do you have anything new?
Yes, Mayor. I just received a 17-page report from the utility engineers, Norm Barron's company that we took on to help us with some of the issues. JCP&L is looking to finalize the interconnection agreement. We've been going back and forth with them to try to smooth out some of the concerns that the borough's had. And again, we're 6 municipalities are serviced by JCP&L, so we're one of the 6. Some of those municipalities have already taken care of some of the things that JCP&L wants to have addressed. But again, it's a pretty long report. He dovetailed each town's particular scenario and determined there's some options. So we have a conference call set up for Thursday at 1 o'clock with Brian Vida. 6 municipalities. I've invited Bob to join us, as well as Pete Kane and Teddy, so that we can all put our collective heads together. But it's, we are going to ask us to do some improvements in terms of our voltage regulation and our capacity. It looks like our power factor is good, but they want it better, and it's wind up costing us some money to make these improvements. But it'll save us money in the long run, but nevertheless, it's money that has to be spent.
Okay.
Because if you don't do it, there's penalties associated with it that are more large than what the costs are just to make the improvements.
Okay. We'll anxiously await the report.
It seemed that JCP&L was putting this on the back burner while they were watching their rate case proceed through the FERC with their transmission costs and all those other things that we've been negotiating and fighting at the federal level. So now that they have that one in the bag, now they're going to come. Yeah, it's ultimately about them.
Yeah.
Getting some more dollars.
Isn't it always?
Investors.
All right. Mrs. Philippon, anything new?
No, I'm good.
Mike, anything new? Bob?
Yep, I'm good.
Anita? Bob, anything new, business?
No, sir.
All right. I have nothing new as well. So we will open the floor to public comments. Matt, anything there?
I currently don't, so Nancy, Jeanette?
Yeah, this is actually her husband, Dennis. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Dennis.
Okay, I'm sorry. It's very difficult to hear from the echo in that room, so I apologize if some of this was discussed earlier. I heard one mention of it. We live at 119 President, one house in from the Bay block from Bay Boulevard. And as you know, the flooding problem has been an endless issue down here with well over a foot of water in that intersection halfway up our street now. The question I have is what is the plan to solve that? And who is the person to speak to understand what that plan is?
Mr. Rice?
Again, that is a county issue. We've just been, working with the county, providing them with information. The project originated at the outfall pipe with the flapper valves on the county end. They did some issues with that. They had some issues with that and did some reinstallation. From what I understand with the county, that appears to be functioning at this point. They just had a crew out there 2 days ago to finish the curbing and the paving of the road as well as our parking lot. So at this point, the county portion of that is done at this point. From earlier conversations I had with county engineering, they will now monitor that work to make sure it performs according to specifications. But we are not, that's not a Lavalette project. Our engineers are not involved in that. We have no contractors involved in that. We merely just report the issues to the county.
But the entire Bay Boulevard floods every time the tide comes in. And the last thing they did just recently is they milled along the curb between the first apron and the corner on both sides, and then repaved it. Maybe it's slightly more slope, but the water, it's not the problem with the water draining into the sewers, it's the water coming out of the sewers, where you get well over a foot of water out there. It's been going on for 20 years. It gets worse every year. If it's not a town problem and the county says they're done, what happens next? Because it definitely isn't done. We had a foot of water out there about a week and a half, 4 days ago.
So you're talking about as much preparation. That's something that's being looked at by the Army Corps of Engineers at this point. It involves the whole New York metropolitan area. It's two different geographic areas. I believe the one goes from New York Harbor down to Manasquan Inlet. The other one goes from Manasquan Inlet all the way down to Cape May. They're looking at the feasibility of installing all sorts of devices, whether it's locks at the Barnegat and the Manasquan Inlet, whether it's a levee system along the bay. It's a multi-billion-dollar project that the Army Corps is currently looking into. That's something beyond the scope of what Lavalette's going to be able to do. We are not going to be able to hold back the waters of the bay. This is something that, as everyone on this barrier island knows, there's penetration all over the place, as well as on the Toms River side over in the canal areas. The Long Beach Island is also experiencing very similar things. We talk to the county and talk to the state. It's not just us. It's an issue of holding the bay back, and that's not something any town, Lavalette included, is going to be able to do. That's a much larger project.
There are good suggestions of building a wall. I'm not sure that too many of the environmentalists would be happy with that. The other obvious solution is to raise the level of the road, which would prevent the road from flooding. Unfortunately, the water then would run off the road into your lot. So unless you raised your lot and everybody else on that block raised their lot, it's an issue with the elevation of the land in that area that's causing the problem. We don't have a fix at this point. Excuse me? Okay. Yeah, you can unmute him.
Hello?
You heard our response?
Yeah, I just had the two questions left. Is a pump an option? Because other towns put pumps in for pumping the water back out. And secondly, can you explain to me, when they put the big pipes out to the bay, it seems like more water comes up from the bay now with the tide. And are these flaps, we heard the flaps were in backwards and all kinds of stories. Are the flaps incorrectly? And why does the water come up through the sewers into the street?
So that's a question you have to pose to the county. That's, again, their engineering project.
So no one from the town is curious enough, no one from the township is curious enough to find out from the county of what to do about our town flooding? I'm confused.
Well, we brought it to the county's attention. That's how the project began, by us doing the complaining to them. There was an issue with the contractor doing something wrong down there, and we never got the full details on what that was. They came back and they claimed that they have corrected it. At this point, we haven't seen enough to know whether it's fixed or it's not fixed. So they were there 2 days ago.
Well, they raised the street a
Okay.
little bit.
So basically, it's just wait and see. Is that the answer?
Well, unless you want us to elevate the road in front of your house, I mean.
Well, I'm 8 feet off the ground. I probably could handle a few feet. Anyway, it's just been a very long time with a lot of people claiming it's going to be solved, and then nothing seems to have happened. I mean, it's definitely not solved, because we could have went swimming out there 3 days ago.
We understand your frustration.
Yeah.
We're going to keep looking for solutions. As Mr. Bryce said, you know, the bigger entities are looking at it, the Army, but I'm not sure that they're going to occur in our lifetime.
Right.
Or whether they'd be satisfactory to us or not. Anita?
What I was gonna say is, they're elevating, 2 streets in Ortley that flood all the time. When they finish that project, if that works, we'll see what they're gonna do back here. I'm watching that.
So the county may be aware that
Yeah.
their solution is not a permanent one as well. So we keep looking for solutions to the problem, but obviously we're not gonna spend billions of dollars of taxpayer money to correct it at this point until every other avenue is exhausted. We do understand your frustration, though.
This time I don't see any other raised hands.
I can't hear you, Matt, sorry.
All right, this time I don't see any other raised hands.
Okay, no other raised hands, then,
So,
Hello?
hello?
Hi, this is Nancy. I just have 2 questions. Did I hear the other gentleman say that they're not going to be selling the beach badges for Christmas?
You did hear that we will not be selling the badges for Christmas. We'll hope to get them for sale soon thereafter, but we're having personnel issues due to COVID.
Okay, there's no way to sell them like at the post office or at Ben Franklin's? Any
No.
other place? No?
Haven't
Okay,
looked into that, but probably not.
okay.
Certainly not the post office. Making a deal with the federal government would be impossible.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it was a township thing. And my other issue was just a recommendation that maybe during the summer months to have Grand Central Avenue, like 35 North, be reduced to 25 miles an hour, because it's a very dangerous street, and it's been really crowded this summer. And I think it would be good to have the entire length of La Valette be down to 25 miles an hour during the height of the season.
We'll take that into consideration. We typically leave those decisions to the chief of police, and he has not recommended that.
Okay, it was just my recommendation because
Thank
it was scary crossing the streets this year. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. With as much traffic as we saw this summer, I'm surprised they were doing 15 miles an hour at the busy times. Maybe at night it's a little quicker. Okay, no more hands?
Good
evening. And we'll close the public portion and,
Good evening.
oh, hello? Somebody there?
Russell Bird's unmuted.
Okay.
I don't see a hand.
Russell, are you there?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Question for you was 18 Brooklyn Avenue seems to pump water incessantly from its basement onto the streets. The water stays stagnant, it's mold, it's green, it collects bacteria, it's an environmental hazard, and yet in the 3 weeks that I've been down here now, it does not stop. It just pumps and pumps and pumps out of this house that there's not even anybody living in there. I don't know where the water comes from, but I think your EPA should look at it and try to determine why.
Mr. Burns, you said you've been here for 3 weeks?
No, I've been here since 2003, but I'm living down here now for the last.
We've been dealing with some pumps for as long as I've been up here. They've greatly reduced in the numbers of them, but the EPA, the health department, no one is concerned about those. We do have a program where we attempt to eliminate those. Typically, when a house is knocked down, it wouldn't be allowed to be built with the same kind of an issue underneath. So that, after Sandy, has really reduced the numbers. We're going to do another survey to see how many are left out there and how many may be contributing to our sanitary sewer flow issue. But it's been an issue around here for a long time. It's getting better. We'll take a look at that one.
I've always noticed it, but I've never seen it so drastic as it is.
Sometimes the float switch gets out of adjustment. We can have the DPW see if they can investigate that one.
So it's a pump in the bottom of the house.
Yeah, they probably have a Yankee basement in there, which is almost a full-size basement, which ends up being below the groundwater level. So the groundwater seeps into the basement and then they pump it out.
Got it. All right, I appreciate that. If someone could look at that, thank you.
We will. That is it. Okay, on to council comments. Dave?
Nothing.
Jim? Joanne? Michael? Bob? Anita?
I want to thank Dave for keeping up with the, he's meeting with the pickleball group tomorrow to talk about the pickleball. I talked with Councilwoman Maria Maruca from Tom's River. They're building 8, and she's going to let me know who the contractor is, and maybe we can deal with that because we should have safe courses, safe court there. It's not really safe, right, Jim? Jim saw somebody fall when he was down playing, so I'm glad he's following up on that, the pickleball. Yeah, right, and pickleball is getting to be a big, it's one of the biggest.
With 8 more courts available within a mile, it should take a lot of the pressure off of the bobsled courts.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, it probably will, but we still don't want a lousy court here. We have the best basketball courts on the island, and we should have the best pickleball.
Somebody donated them. Anybody want to donate
Yeah,
pickleball
that'd
courts?
be nice. Hey, say it nice and loud.
I think they heard it.
Okay, I also want to let you know that I got letters, and I suppose Dave did too. We got letters from everybody. Even Steve Sweeney sent me a congratulations for my election. The freeholders, Colabella, right? And it was really, really a nice thing. And then, of course, we got our certificate of election, which is great. And when we're sworn in January, you're going to be my attorney.
Okay.
To swear me in for here.
All
And
right.
I also want to let you know that the man that bought Hankins building, forget his name, Jack Buzzy came to my house the other day with an armful of stuff in boxes. He actually cleaned out a closet that he never went in. And he found all this stuff, Hankins and old stuff about La Valette, and he brought all of it over to me. So down there on the table, if you guys want to see it, it's an old brochure about the area. This is an old postcard, and this is an advertisement for Hankins Jersey skiff hull. If you'd like to buy one of these, it has the explanation on it, and then it tells you that you have to put 1/3 down and the balance on the completion of your skiff. This was the skiff that in the end, he was asked to please build one in the Smithsonian in Washington. And they brought all the supplies down there. It's a very famous skiff, Hankins sea skiff. Some of the stuff was very personal to the Hankins family, for Charlie Hankins and for Anna Hankins. And I did call up the Hankins, the one Hankins that I know, Andrea Hankins. And she happens to live in Whiting, in the retirement village. She sold her house here on the island. And I'm going to bring her some stuff. I have a beautiful, he brought a frame over of Hankins in a newspaper and a big plaque that was to honor Anna. So she was thrilled, and I'll bring it over to her. But if you want to take a look at that, and this is the sea skiff, beautiful. We have a lot of history in this town. It really is very interesting. Actually, you know that we had the railroad here. And when this boat, this Hankins skiff, was able to go over the waves in the back with fish, they brought the fish and gave it to the train, and the train had frozen cars, and it was sold in New York and Philadelphia. And we would have been very, very rich. This town would have exploded with money with this fishing industry, but they took away the train, and that was the end of that. The trucks weren't good enough to travel stuff away, so that was the end. But of course, the land became very valuable because it's a beautiful place to be, a beautiful place to be. And this postcard says it all. I was reading it to Joanne before. A distinctive seashore resort for a month, week, season, or a lifetime. There is no finer place for you or the entire family. It really says it all. It says it all. Okay, so I also want to mention to you that Barnegat Bay always sends me for a donation. They sent me a letter of all their accomplishments. All these accomplishments are achieved by a small, hardworking staff that need to grow to save Barnegat Bay needs your financial support to continue and build on our successful work to bring about the clean and sustainable world that tomorrow's adults would want to live in. So I made a check out and I sent it in for $30 to the Barnegat Bay. So if you want to give me 5, you can, otherwise it's all right. We want to, and I always put down it's from mayor and council, not Anita. It's from mayor and council. It's a great thing. We're living in a great place. The Barnegat Bay does float a little bit, but,
All right.
you know.
Thank you, Anita.
Okay. thank
Mr.
you.
Bryce, anything?
I'm good, sir.
All right, so one more meeting for 2020. And then reorg is scheduled for what?
The fourth.
The 4th of January. Okay,
Okay.
everybody stay warm. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Now,
Yes.
motion to adjourn. All in
Good
favor?
night, everybody.